My life was, and it was difficult to deal with, especially if you're a physician and you are accustomed to being in charge of lots of people who come to see you per day. I had no control over my life. I had no control over my patients. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a good way. Somebody comes into me and I'm going to deal with them nutritionally. They've had a heart attack. I'm calling the shots. It's who I am. It's what I do. It's what I'm good at. That was taken away. So now you're having a bad relationship, not only with your son, now you're having bad relationships with your neighbors. You're having bad relationships with your parents, with your sisters, your in-laws, your nieces, your nephews. I was angry and I was confused.
Welcome to Self-Heal with Dr. Irene, where you'll learn powerful tools from world-class experts to heal yourself in all areas of your life, your health and energy, relationships, career, finances, and more. Welcome. And today I have a guest who has been on here before to talk about nutrition. This is Dr. Dan Cardellichio. He is a doctor of chiropractic. He has his master's in nutrition, is a functional medicine expert, and is an adjunct professor of nutrition at Bridgeport University. And as I said before, we've had him on to talk about using nutrition and functional medicine to heal ourselves. And today I asked Dr. Dan on because I wanted to and feel the need to talk about healing ourselves from burnout. And Dr. Dan left an amazing endorsement. Thank you so much on my LinkedIn profile. And it got me to thinking that we really need to spread this message and let others know that it's okay, to admit that you're feeling burned out or that something's got to give. And even more importantly, that there is hope. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Dr. Dan.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor and a privilege to be back, to be asked again. I forgot how many times I've been on the podcast, but it's a privilege to be back here again, and wanted to thank you for asking me. And I wanted to thank you for your program that has helped me, but we're going to get into that in a deeper aspect as we go on.
Absolutely. And I think you've been on maybe twice before.
This is my third time.
So I think that you're up there because
am I number one? Am I the most asked guest?
I'm trying to think. I know I've had guests on twice. I'm not sure about 3 times, Dr. Dan. You might be.
Third time.
You might be.
I think I'm number one.
Well, and there's a reason. So, Dr. Dan, I would love to start by having you cast your mind back even 6 months ago, a year ago, and tell me and let our listeners know what kind of challenges you were having in your life at that time. And I'm asking you to be vulnerable here, which folks, we doctors are not good at this. I have to say,
no,
we're not. And Dr. Dan's going to talk about that. And I'm just going to put it out there right now. When they say doctors make the worst patients, it is so true, because we're so used to invading others' privacy. And I'm using that word like in a loving manner, like with the best intentions. And there's like a whole raft of programming that goes into doctoring that is, thou shalt not show weakness, thou shalt not show that you need help too, right? That you're supposed to be the problem solver for everyone else. And just wanted to put that out there. And so just know that when I asked Dr. Dan these questions and we're going to be probing, he's being very courageous here. And I
am,
appreciate you for that.
because, right, thank you very much. But it's true. And, we are not a group that shows shows that vulnerability, because, when we're in our element, we are dealing with patients, we're dealing with lives and so forth. And it is a situation where you have to be on the top of your game. However, what I have discovered is that you can be even better if you are vulnerable. And if you are real when it comes to this, it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to have a bad day. Even when I'm having a bad day, I'm at the top of my game when I'm in my element. But the bad days are few and far between. And I can be more in my element, and I can be more present for my patients.
Okay,
And
I'm going to interrupt you, Dr. Dan, because if I want our listeners to understand like what just happened here. Dr. Dan just totally glossed over the question.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. Yes,
I
you
didn't.
did.
I didn't
Yes,
get to
you did.
answer
Yes.
it in full yet.
No, you glossed over it. I told you
I
I'm going to be like the loving mama bear here today. I asked you what your life was. What challenges did you have?
I didn't get to that yet.
Okay, that's the question.
All right. So lots of challenges. You have a pandemic that hits, and you're taken out of your office. You are taken out of your element. You're home now. Now you have to educate your child. You have to try to figure out how to run your business, because your business is your lifeline. That's how you pay your bills. That's how you make your money. There's a lot
how you help your patients.
Right. And that becomes very difficult, because now that's taken away from you. I felt empty because I needed to figure out on how to pivot. And that was difficult to do, because never had to have done it in this way before. I'm very entrepreneurial, as you know. So I'm involved in other businesses. Other businesses are suffering. So now, excuse me, where was I? Financial stress, emotional stress, physical stress. Can you go outside? Are you permitted to go outside? Stress. Normally, I have anywhere between 4 to 6 offices at any given time. That is stressful enough. Don't sleep. Don't eat properly, although I'm telling people to do that. So it was a situation where if I were to come to you, I was what we would call a hot mess. That hot mess was because I couldn't be in my element. I live and breathe reading blood work, helping people, serving people. That was taken away from me. So there's a whole host of things, such as what I've said. Now you don't sleep. Now you have bad relationships because your routine is messed up. I have a 13-year-old son. My son's routine was messed up. So we're arguing. So I had a poor relationship with him. We're just not getting along. I'm trying to figure out how to run my businesses and how to serve people. And what's on my mind is he in his room playing Mindshare or Fortnite or whatever those things are?
Minecraft.
Minecraft. I don't even know. Mindshare, I don't know. And so what happens is he doing that, or is he in school? He's got to do well because he's going to high school this upcoming year. And he's got to do his homework. So he had to change. And so I was angry. I was agitated, was mad, was stressed, not eating well, not exercising. I felt like my life was, and it was difficult to deal with, especially if you're a physician and you are accustomed to being in charge of lots of people who come to see you per day. I had no control over my life. I had no control over my patients. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a good way. Somebody comes into me and I'm going to deal with them nutritionally. They've had a heart attack. I'm calling the shots. It's who I am. It's what I do. It's what I'm good at. That was taken away. So now you're having a bad relationship, not only with your son, now you're having bad relationships with your neighbors. You're having bad relationships with your parents, with your sisters, your in-laws, your nieces, your nephews. I was angry and I was confused. So I put it all on the table for you, Dr. Irene. So I became very vulnerable just then. And that's not easy for somebody such as myself to be vulnerable. And you know that.
I do. I do. Thank you so much. And I can't emphasize it enough that I know all of us have been burned out. I mean, it's by the very nature, we are in a new global pandemic. The conventional medical community says that mental health is the next pandemic. Well, it's already here, and it's more than mental health because it impacts you emotionally, mentally, and physically. And we're going to talk about that more. And there are certain professions that I lovingly call my real life heroes, those purpose-driven high achievers that feel a special calling to help. And it may be a doctor, it might be a firefighter, it might be a police officer, it might be clergy, it might be a teacher, it might be a mom who's just doing her best, and her mission is to bring her kids up in the best way possible, or dad. And those purpose-driven high achievers have even a greater load of it's a self-imposed load, right? Because they feel that extra need, that drive. Like there's a reason. It's not just money, Dr. Dan. I know you, right? There's a reason you have 4 or 6 offices. It's because you have this tremendous drive and need to help as many people as possible, right? And up until now, the typical way has been brick and mortar offices, right? That's the traditional model. And COVID turned that up on its head. And then we doctors have what I call, we're inaugurated, programmed, brainwashed with what I call the gauntlet mentality, right? With our training. And I remember my training, I called it my baptism by fire. It was, it's not just my career. I am a doctor, right? That's why I call it that. And especially for doctors, and it's like Navy SEALs say, right? In other words, where you have to go through hell and back to prove yourself. And that's the gauntlet mentality. And it's like, if you don't have what it takes, then you don't, then you can't be a doctor, or you can't be a SEAL, or you can't be this or that, right? It's like, it's not good enough just to be bright and talented and have a willingness to help people. And that programming that we go through it also contributes massively to our burnout, because we're taught that we have to be strong. It's be chauvinistic and sound like, my parents, and say, suck it up, take it like a man, right? In other words, it's you have to go it alone. To ask for help is weakness. To admit that you're anything than 100% is weakness, and you are a failure.
You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to ask. That's the mentality.
If somebody asks you, No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I got this. Right. I'm the problem solver for everyone else. Right. And that was the frustrating. And I went through this, Dr. Dan. That's why I know. It's like, I'm not
Right.
exactly a mind reader. It's like, I know because I went through all of this,
Sure.
and why I'm so passionate about helping everyone else, because all of these factors contributed to my own burnout. And pre-COVID, the stats were that over 50% of doctors admitted to feeling burned out. And I use that
Hmm.
term admitted because you and I
Sure.
both know there were way more that didn't admit it and were too afraid, even if it was an anonymous survey, to admit it, let alone admit it to themselves.
Yeah, it goes probably went across the board, to really be honest with you. And, pre-pandemic, I was still stressed because I'm running businesses, I'm serving, I have real estate businesses, I have a lot of different things that I'm involved in. And you can have a good day, you can have a bad day. Some days patients don't listen, some days patients do listen, some days, the stock market crashes, some days it's high. So it's this roller coaster ride. And you know that I had my heart attack when I was 37. I had 3 offices in 3 different states. And then everything changed in the mid 90s. And it was very, very stressful. And what happens is you start taking it out on the people that are the closest to you, the people that you love. You think that they can handle it because they love you and they're going to forgive you, but you can hurt them the most in addition to, you know, and to throw it all on, to throw, more kerosene or, gas on the fire. My mother's diagnosed with adenocarcinoma in her lung. And so now she is going through treatment. She had her first treatment last week, and everything she was told to do, she did the opposite. I blew up on her the other day. I mean, at the end, I said, I apologize. I love you, Mom. But it just came out, you know. You're not supposed to fry your food. You're not supposed to fry pork chops when you're going through chemotherapy and immunotherapy. You're supposed to listen to your functional medicine doctors. So for those of you listening, don't fry pork chops. God forbid if you have that, and don't eat a baked potato that was put into a microwave oven. So you lose your stuff and you become uncontrollable. Your emotions become uncontrollable. Your mind races. You don't sleep. That begins the vicious cycle, in my opinion, when you don't sleep. And you can't. Your mind is racing. Your patients, your family, your business, everything starts to come apart. So even before the pandemic, it was extremely stressful. And I used to pride myself in how much stress I can handle during the course of a year, a week, a month, whatever that is. I'm strong. I'm strong. And somewhere along the line, it gets to be difficult if you don't take care of yourself. And if you don't know what to do, you don't know what you don't know, right? So when you had your flame out and I had my flame out was the heart attack. I'm lying in the ER. I'm like, wow, this is, and that you're having it, by the way, it. I will tell you, you start making peace with everything and everybody at that point. So life can be stressful. It can knock you down, but thank God for Dr. Irene because she has strategies that can help out.
Thank you. And thank you very much for your vulnerability.
You may be the only one that can get my vulnerability out, just to let you know that, Dr. Irene. Not many people can.
Well, and I appreciate you so much because one of my friends, Rod Harrison, says vulnerability is your superpower. And It really, truly is, because when you have the courage to remove that mask, you know, whether it's Eleanor Rigby of the Beatles, you know, the mask that they keep by the door, or Billy Joel has a song about the mask, right? That you wear the mask, you're afraid to show people what's behind, right? And we're so afraid. And yet when you finally drop your mask and have that courage to be vulnerable, not only does it give others the opportunity to say, hey, we're here for you, and it also gives them the opportunity to go, wow, me too. How I can't believe there's somebody else. I thought I was all alone with this.
Right.
And
you're never alone, because
no.
there's so many people that are going through struggles, you know, especially over the last year and a half. And it's true, because, you know, there are pandemics coming out of the pandemic. You know,
Yes.
I'm the blood work guy. I'm looking at, you know, people that are coming in that have gained unwanted pounds, and, you know, you hear it's like 29.6. I think it's twice that, to be honest with you. So now you're looking at, you know, diabetes, you're looking at cardiovascular, you're looking at autoimmune, insulin resistance, all of that. And then, you know, I have a friend that lives in the area that I'm in, and, you know, she's a therapist, and she was saying, my goodness, just the amount of abuse that's going on right now is just incredible, you know. And she said, I'm busier now than I've ever been, and I've been practicing for 30 years. I said to her, only 30 years?
Yes, this is so true. And I want to back up one moment and clarify for any listeners who have not heard me or us use this term before: Flameout Syndrome. And that is the term that I coined, because officially burnout, according to classical ways it's described, and that by definition of the World Health Organization, is that burnout is only a workplace phenomenon and only mental and emotional. Whereas, Dr. Dan, you and I both know, you with your heart attack, me with my catastrophic car accident where I lost consciousness due to a physical condition, that there are very physical impacts and catastrophic impacts that result from chronic stress. And that, yes, we spend a lot of our time at work, like a third of our lives easily, and that is definitely a stressor potentially. And the reality is, crap happens, like COVID, like your mom getting sick, right? Maybe a spouse gets breast cancer, or you break a leg. I mean, it's all stress, and or you're homeschooling your kids. In other words, to me, and with functional medicine, right? To me, functional medicine is all about getting to the cause and looking at the whole person. And you can't separate out workplace stress from relationship stress, from physical stress. You just can't. You have to look at the whole thing. So I coined the term Flameout Syndrome after the aviation term, where if you lose an engine or more suddenly due to various reasons, you can literally crash and burn. So I just wanted to give that quick update for people, you know, if they're like, flame out, what's flame out? I mean, it's often used maybe with athletes, you know, if a team crashes and burns, like, and, you know, they bomb a game or something like that, right? But that's the idea. It's about crashing and burning. And so I want to skip forward to, you met me, you decided to take the leap. In other words, you knew that something had to give. So you took the leap, you joined my 4-week Stress to Success Shift boot camp, But that's not, it just wasn't sunshine and roses after that, right?
No, as a matter of fact, it was not sunshine and roses. What movie is that from? It's all sunshine and roses. Like, oh, Rocky Balboa.
Is it?
Life is not
Okay.
all sunshine and roses. So you used an analogy of somebody that, is Italian American, I grew up in North Jersey.
Really?
Forget about it. But yeah, I get it. It's not all sunshine and roses, when this happened. So no, although I joined up, because of my headspace, I didn't do anything for, I don't know how long. It was a long time.
I think
And
the course was almost done.
I think the course was almost done before I decided that I am going to do anything about it. And
now, did you decide, or
wasn't what was supposed to happen?
Did you decide, or
Dr. Irene, I got to plug in my computer. Hold on one second. I have to plug in my computer.
This is the reality of that we live in.
There you go. I just plugged in my computer. Okay.
Awesome.
It was unplugged. I don't know who unplugged it. I think maybe my partner came in here and said, I'm going to unplug the computer. He's doing a podcast today. So anyway, no, I didn't do anything for, 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then you said to me, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm busy. I got offices. I'm trying to keep afloat here. I got my, I have my boy, the whole thing. And
oh yeah, it was one thing after another,
there was just so many.
I don't have time. I don't have, and then you're like, yeah, I don't really need this. I'm fine, really.
I think you just hit on two important aspects of it. When you don't want to do something, you always say, I don't have time. Mm-hmm. It's just an easy excuse, because you can sit there and say, well, I'm driving from this office to this office. I'm going away this weekend to a hockey tournament. That's the easiest. I don't have time. That's just
that, and I don't have money.
Right. I don't have money. But then people, when they want to do something, they move heaven and earth, and they find that they have time, and they find that they have the money, and they find that once they have, and they're invested, and they start something, it becomes, you get a lot of momentum, if you will. And that momentum really, really just helps out, and you can actually see things a little bit differently. And as time goes on, you see a lot of things differently. And the third element I'm going to throw in there is, I told you this. I mean, what am I doing? What do you want me to do? I said, I'm thinking to myself, my friends from Bloomfield, New Jersey, and Newark, New Jersey, if they found out that I was doing this, the ribbing I would get would they would look at me and they would say, what? Come here. Let me smack you a little bit. They would say, that'll make you feel a little bit better. So, you always have that happens, because you are thinking about, your past comes into play, who you are, who you think you are, and so forth. And that always comes into play. So in this case, that came into play. I'm like, how can this help me? What do I have to do? Get out of here. No way, man. I'm not doing that. Right. So that's another thing that goes a little bit deeper. That goes a layer deeper than, I didn't
know about that one.
You didn't know about that one? I told you about that one.
I don't think you told me about that one.
You just don't listen to me. That's what the issue
is. Is that what it is? Is that what it is? Okay. All right. And again, it's my listeners, I give Dr. Dan a hard time, because number one, he seems to invite it. He's got broad shoulders. Yeah, just a little, he invites it, forget about it. And
forget about it.
At the same time, I'm not just asking, drawing him out on this to give him a hard time. It's because I see this all the time with people that think they want to make a change, they need to make a change. And here's the thing, they're not bad, stupid, or lazy, right? They're not, it's not like they've changed their minds. It's because your unconscious mind will sabotage you into believing that everything from I don't have time, I need sleep more than this, or I'm too busy with these deadlines, or I had, or this program must only be for single people because I'm married and my marriage takes up too much time, or right, or even that really I took a look and I think this program is junk, it's garbage, so I'm not going to bother, right?
Yeah.
And when somebody, and it's part of the cycle of development. In other words, it's just a natural part that your unconscious mind doesn't like change. It looks at it as dangerous. And I could spend hours talking about that alone. Just suffice it to say that whether you're trying to lose weight or start anything new, you go through the cycle of development and you're going to hit that valley of despair. And sometimes,
Right.
like Dr. Dan, you hit it right outside the gate. Right? In other words, because your unconscious mind knows best how to sabotage you and derail you in its well-meaning way, right? To drag you back to your comfort zone where you may not be happy and you may actually be ill, but it looks at that as like it's known, it's safe. And so if you can push through, whether it's my program or someone else's, it's like pushing through that place. And I always say, if you're unsure, if you're feeling any kind of negative emotion, negative thoughts, feeling physically negative, like as in maybe even pain and inflammation, just assume that it's just your unconscious mind doing its best to derail you. So,
however,
not letting you off the hook, and I'm letting you off the hook. In other words, Dr. Dan, you're not alone. And I'd really love for you to describe for our listeners what a difference it is now, so we don't leave them hanging as we come to the end of this.
Oh, we're going to keep them having. Thank you very much for being on the show today. No. And I am known as the CFO of the Shift Institute, where I'm the Chief Fun Officer. So
okay, you're getting ahead of yourself, Dr. Dan, because you weren't there to begin with. Got to tell let them know the results that you got.
Absolutely. So what I was going to say, and what was going through my mind when you were talking, is that at some point in time, I said, let's give this a shot. Let's do it. And, let's set aside half an hour, 20 minutes, and let's get through the first one. Let's see what happens. So I did the first one. I did the first module. Then I went to the second module. Then I went to the third module. I think I did hours the first time because I felt more calm immediately. I felt more confident immediately, more self-assured. My relationship with my son just reached a new level. And for your listening audience, my son is everything. And, it's important for me to have that. And I was able to figure stuff out, if you will, during the course. The decisions became easier because they were clearer to me on what needed to get done during the course of a day for business and personal life. And the momentum that started just propelled me to a different level of existence. And I have to thank you for that. And my stress levels, and I'm the ultimate stressed guy, as you very well know, Dr. Irene. I'm the ultimate stress guy. I'm stressed by the time I get up to the time I go to bed, even when I'm sleeping, I thrive on that, and I don't want to thrive on that anymore, because there's a better way to live your life. So if you want to have those broad shoulders, as Dr. Irene said, there's actually a better way to deal with it. You don't have to deal with the stress the way that you've been dealing with it. My sleep became better. Relationship with my family became better. Equally, my relationship with myself became better. And I'm happier with myself today than I was a year and a half ago. I don't have that internal strife. I'm not playing tennis. It's not Federer versus Federer in my mind anymore. And because nobody wins that one at all. Nobody's winning that one. So, just the existence, your life just becomes significantly better.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
My pleasure. And for the record, I don't recommend necessarily that anyone spend hours doing it. It is meant to be a conditioning program. And in other words, 15 minutes.
But I was so far behind. I was ready to rock and roll. And the whole point of me saying that is, once you get the momentum, you look for the next session. You're going to look for it, because you're going to be like, oh, wait a second here. This isn't so bad, right? And now you're looking, because now you're going to say, wow, I want more, because I can be more.
Absolutely. And so what was about the time span that you noticed these changes?
Immediately. It was immediate. It was after the first session. Like I said, it was immediate. It wasn't that I needed 10 or 15. No, it was right out of the gate that I noticed a significant difference. The calm, like I said, was just incredible. It really is. I mean, I go back and I do them again, because it's just part of a day now. It's not, I look forward to it. So it was immediate. For me, it was totally immediate. Like I said, for me to have my attention with my ADHD, for me to have my attention on something, wow, that's saying something.
I love it. And then at one point, you kind of did like that guy in the old Philishave commercial.
Is that a Canadian thing, or is that a United States thing?
Wasn't that an American TV commercial as well? Philishave, you have Philishave down there, or used to? No?
Doesn't sound, no, it doesn't sound. So tell me, what is it?
Okay, so the Philishave commercial always had this kind of dorky looking guy, and I mean that with all love of my heart, older guy, and he's talking about this electric razor, Philishave, and he said, I was so impressed, I bought the company. Instead, you came to me and said, I'm so impressed, I'm on the team, you have no choice.
Yeah, pretty much. I said, I think I'm taking over, and I think I'm going to now be the CEO of the company. And Dr. Irene said, hold on a second. But no, seriously, I did say I want in, because I think that I can serve humankind in a higher level by being part of the Shift Institute, and by being part of the team, and helping and serving at that point.
Absolutely. Yes. And so what's your new title?
Oh, I think you've given me multiple new titles, but the last one, or the one most recent this morning, is the CFO, the Chief Fun Officer. I thought it was Director of Nutrition or Director of Functional Medicine or something like that, but it was CFO, Chief Fun Officer. For those of you who don't know me, I can tell a joke or two, just a little bit.
And he actually thinks he's funny. I mean, he's funny.
No, I don't laugh at my jokes. I learned that at a young age, that you're not supposed to laugh at your jokes. So I learned that from Johnny Carson, he said, good comedians don't laugh at their jokes. So there may be a joke or two that really is pretty funny, and I'll crack up though.
Those are usually the bad ones, Dr. Dan.
Oh, thank you very much for that. Maybe I have to go do another module because you just hurt my no.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Dan. I appreciate you so much, and for being the example of possibility and letting others know. As I said, I'm not saying that we're the be all and end all. Find whoever has the answers for you. Just know you are not alone and that there is hope. And if you feel that what we say resonates with you, please reach out. Please reach out, because we're here for you. And just as I was with Dr. Dan, we'll be here every step of the way for you. And who knows, maybe you'll join our team too, because we only hire from within.
That's right.
So thank you, Dr. Dan.
Thank you so much, Dr. Irene. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for helping me. And I look forward to what's to come with the Shift Institute. I mean that with all my heart.
The Stress to Success Shift Institute. That's right.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Self Heal with Dr. Irene. Please head over to iTunes to subscribe and leave a review. By doing so, this will help us reach more people with our message. Be sure to visit www.selfheal.life to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. And keep listening for more insights and tools to empower you to heal yourself and enjoy life to the max.